Okay, so we're going to get started. My name's Hannah Lucas, and this is my grandmother, Vicki Wood, who is 65. And we are going to get started with this interview. Uh, Middle adulthood refers to the period of the lifespan between young adulthood and old age. The most common age definition is from 40 to 65, but there could be a range of 10 years on each side. So it could be 30 to 75 on the different sides of those numbers. So my first question to you is, how old are you? What age are you?
65.
Okay. There are a few biologically based physical changes in midlife, which is this phase, other than changes in your vision, more joint pain, and weight gain. So biologically, those are about it. Vision is affected by age. Night vision is also affected as the pupil loses some of its ability to open and close to accommodate the changes in light. Autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis often starts in 30s. Women often gain their fat around their waist and their upper arms. And since you're a woman, that's why I gave that information to you. Men, their upper abdomen is a place where they hold theirs. Hearing loss is experienced by about 14% of midlife adults as a result of being exposed to high levels of noise. So, question number 2, what are the visible signs of aging that you have noticed that are happening at this point in your life at this time?
Loss of vision.
In what ways? What type of loss of vision?
Especially at night, judging cars.
Mm-hmm. What about reading? Is it closer or farther away that you can't see?
For me, closer up.
Okay, that's normal. That's typical behavior, your eye vision of up close at this age.
And also weight gain around the waist.
Mm-hmm.
Even though poundage-wise, maybe not so much, but still bigger around the waist.
Yeah. When did you develop your glaucoma? How old were you?
I was 50.
You were 50, so you were in the middle of midlife
Yes.
then. So, okay. Lifestyle has a strong impact on the health status of midlife adults. So, smoking tobacco, drinking alcohol, poor diet, stress, physical inactivity, and chronic disease, such as diabetes or arthritis, they reduce your overall health. So, it becomes very important for midlife adults to take preventative measures to enhance their physical well-being. So, question 3, does your family have hereditary heart problems, cancer, hypertension, or diabetes?
Yes.
Yes. What types of those?
My father had heart disease. Trying to think.
Anyone have cancer? It's okay.
Actually, yes, my mother had breast cancer.
Okay.
And did treatments.
Okay.
Trying to think of anything else.
Anyone have diabetes?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Are you aware of the signs and symptoms of the health problems?
Yes.
So you said your dad has heart disease. Are you aware of what to look for
Yes.
in terms of symptoms?
Yes.
Okay. What are some of those symptoms?
Some of the symptoms will be shortness of breath, high blood pressure, dizziness, several different things.
All right. Okay, so prior research on cognition, which is your brain and stuff like that, and aging, has been focused on comparing young and old adults, assuming midlife adults fall somewhere in between. So verbal memory, spatial skills, inductive reasoning, and vocabulary increase with age as well. Obviously, they kind of say the older you get, the more wise you get. But while these increase, the mechanics of your cognition, such as your working memory, which is what comes into your brain and that you can store in the present, and speed of processing gradually decline with age. These can easily be compensated, though, through the higher order cognitive skills like forming strategies to enhance memory or summarizing and comparing ideas rather than relying on rote memorization. So, since entering this stage of your life, have you noticed any cognitive or intellectual decline in how you make decisions or remembering things?
Yes, number one, probably I make several lists
Mm-hmm.
and write down what I need, where before I just automatically knew that.
And then you write another list after you've forgotten.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
And
Um,
actually, now that we have cell phones, I used to memorize all the numbers. I know very few numbers. I just hit a button.
mhm.
So that's something that's real
Do you
different.
rely on other people before you make a decision? Do you ask for multiple opinions and things like
I
that?
ask for opinions from my children.
That's a wisdom thing.
So,
At this age, that you have developed the skills to know to get multiple
yeah,
um,
yeah. Might
opinions.
not make the right decision, but I do ask.
That's okay. Relationships are a big topic in midlife. So from 40 to 65, your people's relationships, anyone in that age, is a big topic. There are different types of people or different types of relationships. They categorize them singles and married life. So since you are single, um, this is why I've chosen these topics, but not all of these are alike. There are 4 different types of singles. There are voluntary, temporary singles, which means that you choose to be single and for the temporary moment, for the present, but you have hopes to continue something. Voluntary, permanent singles, someone who chooses to be alone forever on their own. Involuntary, temporary, so it was not their choice, but they do think that they will be in a relationship. And involuntary, permanent. So I categorized you as involuntary, permanent because you are widowed. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay. A lot of other things were talked about in terms of married and singles, but then there were also relationships that were discussed in terms of your friendships and your coworkers and the way that you handle relationships. So, how have your relationships changed with others since entering this stage of your life with your spouse, significant other, parents, children, coworkers, or neighbors? How has all of that changed? You're at the latter part of midlife, so you probably have more experience with how you um, how your relationships have changed.
I have to look for a lot of things for companionship,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing that I was going to be widowed. You think it gets easier, but sometimes it does not get easier. And it might hit you one day, and then for months you're okay. But you have to learn to deal with those things, and I have learned to do that.
How have your relationships with your children changed over the last 25 years?
I'm probably actually closer because I live closer to my children now because of my widows, being a widow. And probably sometimes I know more than I need to know, but I am totally, totally grateful that I am here.
And your children in the last 25 years have all went from being children and adolescents to
To
now,
adults
yeah, to
and grandparents and
mm-hmm.
experience things that I've already been through.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Many plan their future by using a map. They have a sense of where they are and where they want to be, and they form strategies to get from point A to point B. A lot of adolescents do this in early adulthood. So when one evaluates their life and sees perhaps that they may not have actually followed the map that they had set out. So in this phase, if you look back and you might have a sense of frustration or failure creeps in. Work in midlife includes many scenarios. Some experience stable careers at this point in their life, while others experience a layoff and may find themselves back in school to gain new skills for reemployment. And others can experience discrimination due to age or find it difficult to gain employment because of their higher salary demands. So, um, what is your career at this time?
My career at this time is volunteering and also working at the school part time, which I have worked there for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Gives me a reason to get up every morning, get dressed, go to work,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of income, communication with
Other
different people.
Yeah. Are you comfortable and content with your career?
Yes,
You are. Why?
because every day I see children in need, and that's what I want to give to people back.
Hmm.
When they need something, I feel like I have enough experience that I can help in some way.
Hmm. Do you want to advance or change your career in the future?
Not at this time,
Why or why not?
because I think I'm content.
Hmm.
I still have time for my own children and grandchildren, and yet I have time to give of myself for part of the day to someone else that might not have that privilege.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Our lifestyle choices impact our health status. There are many risks to health, and we've talked about them. Some of them are your poor diet, stress, smoking tobacco, drinking alcohol, inactivity, and chronic disease. There are also some preventative measures that can be taken too, and they include challenging physical and mental activity, weight bearing exercise, good nutrition, and social resources. So, what lifestyle choices have had a strong impact on your health status? Exercise, diet, habits, etc. What, good or bad?
The worst habit I have is smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Probably the next would be the way I eat because I'm by myself. I probably don't eat correctly as much as I should.
Mm-hmm. Convenience is often what I
Convenience.
hear you.
Uh,
It's hard to cook for one.
it's very hard to cook for one because I, from old school, don't like to throw food away.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as far as what I've done to better myself, is just be closer to my kids and feel good in my heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you could change your choices from the past, what lifestyle choices would you change?
Well, it's very obvious I wouldn't want to smoke.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you feel like you were educated on health growing up? On
Not like today.
Yeah.
It was a in thing to smoke uh, at that time. I
Do
actually didn't start until I was 25, which was real dumb.
do you feel like you were well educated on the benefits of all of the benefits that exercise can give to you? Also, not just saying exercise is good for you. Were you
Absolutely not. We had PE for an hour. That's all the knowledge that I had growing up in school is going to PE for 1 hour.
Mhm.
Uh, no health diets, no
No one that
frills.
cared really?
No.
Yeah. Okay. A term that refers to the idea of having a great transition or dramatic change, or maybe to become younger than one is around 40 or 50, is a midlife crisis. So that's talked about. And a midlife crisis involves changing things in order to get back on course with the way one wanted their life to be. So we go back to that map that we were talking about. It may look a lot like a lot of impatience and frustration. Perhaps a real focus on the self, and it can last more than a few months, perhaps several years in making this change. So, do you predict or have you felt like you have experienced a midlife crisis in any way?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. How in that way do you feel like you have?
Uh, my children are all gone.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first midlife crisis. It was just my husband and I. And then when I lost my husband, it was myself only. Uh, I get frustrated when I try to do things and my body doesn't want me to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's very normal. The
yeah,
empty nest syndrome was talked about when
yes,
your children leave.
yes,
I kind of am seeing that with my parents
yes,
currently, so that's neat. And then being widowed. All obviously we talked about
yes.
relationships and what that does to somebody. So that's great. I appreciate your participation in my interview.
Well,
So,
thank you.
bye guys.